Yeah, we'll have to figure it out.
I'm pretty sure. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's
Okay, we can hear you.
A broadcasting legend in his own mind. He's known to be prickly and very opinionated. It's time to get in the huddle with your host, Coach Muddle.
All right, everyone, welcome to YouTube and a football Thursday. I don't know that I thought I would say welcome to football Thursday. So very, very excited that we have football tonight. Obviously, Nevada Nick heavily on his phone with picks and information, finding stuff out. And Captain Jack, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Eventful day, lots of personal business, but I'm not going to discuss it here. But I'm glad that it is finally the start of the NFL season. There you go.
Finally, and I got to move inside. I earned enough points to do it inside since the weather's a little iffy, and the humidity is ridiculous. I was out there for like 10 minutes and I'm sweating like a pig. So
remember, it's not the heat, it's the humility.
The humility, right. Right. I'm sweating like a whore in church. So, but anyway, we got an action-packed show for you leading up to some Thursday night football. Of course, if you missed this show, you can check it out wherever you get your podcasts from. Apple, Google, Spotify, Anchor. Just type my name in, Coach Muddle. I pop up, and you can listen to the show, send it to your friends, whatever you want to do. And, of course, make sure you go to YouTube and like us on YouTube. Really like to give away that gift card before my wife spends it. So, that would be a plus.
Well, I saw it in the car last night.
It's just going to cost you another gift card if she spends it. So
Yeah, I don't want it to cost me another gift card, Captain. That's the whole point. Thank you.
I got you. Well, you can send it to me for safekeeping, and I promise not to spend it.
Yeah, I'm right on that.
No, seriously, because this way it won't be.
I'll put it in with the box of tasty cakes that Billy's sending you.
Okay.
Hey, Coach, did you hear about your boy today? He restarted practice. He was pissed with their effort.
Yeah, I like it.
So do I.
I kind of feel like, the Giants are gonna, might steal a couple of games just because of the coaching style. I'm giving a little more credit than the talking heads on the big networks.
The talking heads, they don't know shit.
That's right. Yeah. You're right, Captain.
They picked the Raiders at 5-11. I mean, 5-11. I mean, I'm not a homer. I'm actually an analyst. But how can they regress when they were a actual 7-9, factual 9-7 last year? But they're going to regress to 9-7 with all the people, 5-11 with all the people they picked up. That's just stupid bullshit. And excuse me, I'm going to wink out for a minute.
Right.
Well, the other issue I have with the talking heads, because all of a sudden Jason Garrett was this horrible coach, and now all of a sudden people got the Cowboys going to the Super Bowl, playing in the NFC Championship. I mean, all this ridiculous nonsense. Like, I really think that's nuts. I don't think that McCarthy is that good of a coach to turn them around and make them a Super Bowl contender like that. I'm sorry.
And, Coach, what's the big addition? CeeDee Lamb? Okay, but you lose Byron Jones. McCoy's hurt for the year. And let's not forget, what was Aaron Rodgers' big problem, one of his problems with McCarthy? Running the football. Right. That was Garrett's problem with Dallas. That team is built to run the ball and then play off the run with Dak. And Garrett would always – if they got down by a touchdown or 10 points, you got to stick with it. You just got to keep on doing what makes you, has your team win, like the Niners. You run the ball, play action. And, McCarthy gets away with it too. And, the Packers weren't known for running the ball when McCarthy was there. So
they never really had a running back. I mean, I think the year they won the Super Bowl was the last time they had a legit running back.
Was
Right.
that Dorsey?
And I can't even name that guy.
Dorsey Levens?
No, Dorsey
No,
Levens was like from
that
the
was
Brett Favre era.
90s.
That's what I'm saying. You know, the last it was Lacey, the big kid that was overweight, right?
Yes, couldn't keep his weight off. Yes,
Right.
he ate himself out of the league, I believe.
Yeah, I was being facetious with Levens because I knew what it was coming up, but that was the last time.
Dorsey ended up ending his career with the Eagles. He was on the Eagles team that I think made the Super Bowl run. Or it was either that or the year before, but he was on that. That was his last year with that Eagles team. But yeah, out of Eagles today,
and he had his stint with the Giants, I believe. He was there for the Giants for maybe 1 or 2 seasons.
That's correct.
But
as
well,
two stories I don't think.
Go
stories that I don't think were good for the Eagles either way is they paid Jason Peters today, but that now Lane Johnson restructured to let him do it, but still that means more money for Lane Johnson in the future is going to be put on the cap when we already know the Eagles are in salary cap hell next year. And then Ertz isn't happy. Ertz came out today and said it in the presser that he's playing this year like it's his last year. Basically, now he's still signed for next year, but I know he's not, very happy that he hasn't gotten re-signed. Supposedly they said he was offered less than Hooper got offered. So, right. And now Kittle got, what was it, $75 million,
right?
And then Kelsey got $4 and $57. So I think that's the baseline Ertz is going to be looking at. I don't think he's Kittle, but I think he's in the conversation of those guys, and he's definitely better than Hooper, no doubt.
I think he's better than Hooper, and I think he'll fall in right behind Kelsey and
I agree.
And Kittle. I think he's right there. I think he's the 3 guy. If you're going to pay guys, he's the 3rd guy I'm going to pay, as far as tight ends go. So,
Answer is Packers from 94 to 01, the Eagles in 02, the Giants in 03, and back to the Eagles in 04.
Okay.
All right.
So, yeah, he was on the Super Bowl team like I had thought. Okay.
There you go. So.
Well, I'm just trying to pull my weight here.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We appreciate it, Captain. We appreciate you doing your due diligence.
No pun intended on pulling weight, that's for sure.
And if you guys hear any phones ringing in the background, my phone going, just ignore it. A lot of action being taken tonight. Everybody's excited for football. And obviously, I will have my picks later.
Better than me, and we'll not to get into the picks, but I just feel like all the money's on Kansas City. I think because Hopkins is gone, there's the cupboard's bare for Houston, which I don't really think that's the case. And
so Coach, the line opened up at 7.5. It's up to 9.5. So that's telling you everybody's betting Kansas City, like you said. And one thing I will say, this because it's the Super Bowl champion usually always has the first home game on Thursday. They open up the season. That's how it's been. And it's been a nice cover usually. But this year's kind of different. They have the ring ceremony, you do the banner, everybody's excited, but it's not a full stadium. So I think that does factor in a little bit, And 9.5 points, no matter what, it's a lot of points. So think about it. You can be up 2 touchdowns late, and they get a backdoor touchdown, and you don't win, gambling-wise.
Here's my take on what we're going to – I think that special teams is going to be a complete shit show for the next couple of weeks because
tackling too.
Tackling and special teams is really going to be a shit show because even during preseason, you can't get that stuff right with preseason games. What a disaster that is. Now it's a real game. You're going to lose real timeouts in special teams, and I feel like that's going to cost some teams some games here in the early goings.
Yeah. And the other thing too, Coach, that we've talked about, I think especially offensively, anybody with continuity, where you got the same head coach, quarterback, offensive coordinator, I believe they're going to have an edge. So your Saints with Drew Brees and Sean Payton, my Eagles with Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz. They do have a new OC though, but still Doug calls the plays. So I don't think it's going to be much of a difference than it is. I think they were trying to get a better guy than Grow in there that could help Peterson like Frank Reich did. But
Right.
yeah, I think those teams will have an advantage. And that's just like you brought up. Dallas has to go against that. Dak's learning the West Coast offense, which is usually they would say took a quarterback 3 years to learn the West Coast. Yeah.
There we go.
Well, that's always the question, Jared. That's always the question. I mean, I think he answered it a bit last year. But yeah, I mean, if he gets hurt, that's going to be the thing. But I think the Eagles have more. There's other injuries they're worried about, and I think we're all going to give up what we think is going to happen for our prospective teams. I know at least me and Coach will. I'm not sure if Captain Jack, but me and Coach will give out records. I'll give out what I think the Eagles do. He's going to give out what he thinks his Giants do. And if Captain's willing, he'll.
Yeah. I've done it.
I have a feeling, Nick, that Captain is never a loss for words when it comes to because it just doesn't sound right. The Vegas Raiders, I was a big fan of Chris Berman. Got to meet.
I was going to say the next things out of his mouth is roll up circle the wagons, yada yada yada. I was like, fuck you. Okay.
But I like he used to say the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah.
Right. And it has that that ominous tone to it. And until they, start getting on that winning track again, I think that ominousity is, if that's even a word,
right.
We'll be there when we say the Vegas Raiders. But
look at it this way though. And I have it, this is no bullshit. I have it on very good authority from a friend of Al that is I know the son of the guy who is a personal friend of Al. In fact, I will say it, the guy that put Al Davis in the NFL. Okay. That guy, if you know who it is, then good on you. If not, I'll tell you off stage. But his son told me in the presence when he was with his father and Mr. Davis, may he rest in peace, Mr. Davis wanted to go to Vegas. Mr. Davis was pining to go to Davis. This has Al Davis written all over it. So the fact is that the team can finally be there, okay, is a godsend. And remember how close Al Davis was with Jimmy the Greek Snyder.
Yeah.
And Jimmy the Greek, that ring that Al has with that said AL, the diamond ring that he had was a gift from Jimmy the Greek Snyder.
Yeah.
So Al in Vegas makes sense. The Raiders in Vegas make sense. So there you go.
And to add on to what Captain's saying, I understand there's some people in Oakland that might be disappointed, obviously, because your team moved. But if you're a diehard Raiders fan and you're going to be a fan of them wherever they go, it's a good move for you because this stadium that they now have is going to generate revenue. And it's going to make that team worth more money and make them a better organization and have more money to spend on free agents and things that are good for your team. I know it. Look, I wouldn't want the Eagles to move out of Philadelphia. But it's tough. Oakland wouldn't give them the new stadium. It's not a huge market, obviously. So I think ultimately it's a good thing for the Raiders. They're going to get that franchise. I don't know. I don't know what the figures are, but we all know the value of that franchise is going up because they're moving to Vegas this year into a beautiful brand new stadium.
Yeah, and the very first time that the Raiders have had a brand new stadium since 1967, because that. And again, Angela takes great offense to this. That was her home. So when people start racking on the home, I get it. It's like, hey, your house sucks. And it has this. Well, yeah, but it's my house.
Just like we said about the vet.
Right.
Yeah,
stop talking about my house. But the stadium was, for lack of better terms, a shit show in reality. Not an OBJ show, but another type of shit show with the facilities. It was horrible. But it was our shit show.
Steamers.
Yeah, but the thing is that it is a brand new state-of-the-art stadium where the Raiders are the only tenant. The only tenant. They're not paying anything. They don't have to have a friggin' baseball diamond for the first month to 6 weeks, depending upon how well the A's do, okay? They don't have to play below sea level, okay? They have all the amenities that you can want in a brand new stadium. Call it what you want. Call it the what do you call the thing that goes around and cleans the carpet? No. Well, Mark calls it the Death Star.
Oh.
Okay, everybody else is calling it like a Roomba.
Roomba,
okay?
there you go.
I don't care what you call it. I call it a beautiful, brand new home for a team that has been looking to have things done. Remember, they were supposed to get a brand new stadium in Los Angeles. It didn't happen. They were supposed to get updates in a brand new stadium in Oakland when they moved back. Didn't happen. First time since they moved into a brand new Coliseum facility in 1967 that the Raiders are in a brand new, at that time, state-of-the-art stadium. So great.
And I, it's just like, because that was the whole thing with the Eagles back in the 90s, if you remember, Nick, that, when Jeffrey Lurie took over, because they couldn't get those big free agents to come to Philadelphia because the facility was so shitty.
Right.
It was one of the worst facilities, and you weren't getting free agents because of that. And when you signed, what was his name from the 49ers? You got the big running back. Ricky Waters. There you go. And and then things started to transform after that.
Right. And then we got Runyon too. But that was all with the knowledge that one day we were going to get the link. And then they also have the beautiful NovaCare complex too, which is the training facility. So, Eagles are first class now. And that's why they're, have become one of the, in the last 20 years, I think they're a top 5 organization. I really do.
I would even say, the Patriots and then the Eagles are kind of right there because they kind of
second tier. I think, the second tier. I'd say the Eagles
they do things kind of similar in whatnot. So
I would throw the Ravens in there too. I think
and the Ravens, yes, the Ravens.
I mean, the Colts are pretty good. Teams that are just there every year. Steelers, that got good facilities, and the teams are always competitive. So I mean, that's one thing that, and obviously, I think the Chiefs have a pretty good organization with where they're headed, obviously, too. I mean, you can't go wrong with Andy Reid. He's the guy who turned around the Eagles franchise.
Right.
But until they get sick of him after 10 years of making the playoffs every year and not winning the Super Bowl every year.
Well, now he's legend in Kansas City. I mean, he's the guy never has to buy a steak dinner again in Kansas City.
Well, like his arteries need any more fucking steak.
Captain, I really believe that Andy learned from Doug Peterson. I really do. I think he saw how aggressive Doug was, and you saw Andy do things last year that he didn't do. The Super Bowl going for it on fourth a couple times. The old Andy would have kicked the field goal. I mean, I think he realized he needed to show that belief in the team and that aggressive style. And, I really think he learned from Doug. I really do, because Andy was a conservative coach, especially in big games, and that was the knock on him. He couldn't win big games. I mean, you're talking about a guy that was to 5 NFC championships with the Eagles, and they were to 1 Super Bowl. And then he was to an AFC championship game with the Chiefs, and they didn't make it. So that's 6 championship game appearances and 1 Super Bowl appearance that you lose. So, of course, you're going to get that mantra of, you can't win the big one.
Right. And I actually hope that Gruden takes a play from Andy Reid in that respect, because remember, Gruden is always conservative, could never, and I hate using this term, especially nowadays with the civility going on, could never put the foot on the neck of anybody. Okay. And he would always play conservative. And it took until Trestman with Bill Callahan the very next year when Gruden left to bring the Raiders up to the franchise that finally went to a Super Bowl, because he took the restrictor plate off the engine, and we were running like a top with Gannon being the MVP that he was. Gruden still has those very, very conservative tendencies. I'm hoping with the influx of, and I'll go into the roster later on, the influx of all of the weapons that we have, all the new toys for John, that he actually figures out, you know what, I need to throw it a little bit more. I need to throw it a little bit deeper. There you go.
If you look at Gruden, he kind of took the league by storm. When his first go around with the Raiders, and then he leaves. That Bucs team was a defensive team. Now, don't get me wrong, they won the Super Bowl, so he pushed the right buttons and all. But they were a defensive team, and then after that, he really didn't do much. Gruden, he didn't have a ton of talent. That team was older, but still, he couldn't get it turned around. and that's why he obviously jettisoned out and went to broadcasting. So yeah, but look, I think him and Mayock are a good team. It's going to be tough. He's I think in a good young division. You got the Chiefs in there, and they're kind of trying to, take them down. It's tough. Andy Reid is one thing Andy Reid can do is win division titles. I think he's proven that.
And you got David Carr as the veteran of the division, believe it or not.
Derek Carr.
Or David Carr. Who did I
Derek
say?
Carr.
Derek Carr. David's the guy that won a Super Bowl ring with the Blue Dudes.
With the Giants, yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
David. NFL Network, not Derek.
Coach, you want to go through what we all think for our teams and start with one of us?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and go first? I know you're itching to
Sorry.
talk about
all right. Well, no, this year with the Eagles, I got the Eagles going 10-6. Okay. And I think likely I see them getting knocked out in the second round. I think in a great year, they make it to the championship game.
Now,
in a great year.
Expanded this year.
No, I know. So, yeah, right. But no, there's only one team with a bye. I don't think the Eagles will be that team. I think they will win in the wild card, but I have them going out in the second round. They have no linebackers. I'm not in love with the pass rush. I don't think they got it. I know they got, Malik Jackson coming back, but even Catherine alluded before. Malik Jackson hasn't been what he has been since he was in Denver. So he's going to have to show me something. And if the Eagles are going to have a great year, we're going to need Derek Barnett to finally show up. I mean, that's going to be the thing. And how can you count on him? He's always been injured. I don't think he's had a year where he's had more than 5 or 6 sacks. Brandon Graham, you can count on. He's going to give you his 8, 9, 10.5 sacks and be consistent. But other than that, I don't see much of a pass rush. I think they're going to miss Malcolm Jenkins. And then at receiver, Rager's out for a month. Can you count on Jackson and Jeffrey? So, everybody keeps talking about this offense, but that's how we were talking about the Eagles offense last year. And then look what happened, So I think they make the playoffs, but I think they're 10-6. Like I said, in their year, if they do what they can do, I think they're 10-6, second round out. Great year. They're in, the NFC Championship. In a bad year, I think they go 8-8 or 7-9 and don't make the playoffs.
Well, I just to jump on that, I really think that you don't have a bell. You still don't have a bell count. You don't have a running back.
Miles Sanders is pretty good.
Well, he's still not that every down back that's between the tackles. I mean,
not many teams have that, though, Coach.
What?
The Niners and the Chiefs didn't have that, and they both were in the Super Bowl.
You know what, though? They throw the ball a lot better than the Eagles do. Okay? They're not throwing the guys from working at Wawa the week before. So, I mean, and I know that's where a lot of the Eagles scouts apparently hang out. They go to Wawa to recruit the next receiver for the Eagles. So, because it is, it says right in the application, if you got football ability, come work with us because you might get recruited by the Eagles. It says right on the application, man.
Oh, yeah. So then I'll tell you, the Eagles must be doing good because they're doing better than the Giants. Where are the Giants looking for players?
It's fine. We're good, man. We're good. We didn't have to.
What are your Giants going to do? You tell me.
I just bit my lip because I'm running my mouth. But at least they didn't sign a 41, 42-year-old practice squad guy. But anyway, look, I think the Giants obviously again didn't get a pass rusher. They did address the offensive line. And I think that if Ingram can stay healthy, I really think that the Giants' offense is going to be really good. And I think defenses are going to have to pick and choose how you're going to stop the Giants, whether you're going to load the box on Barkley or you're going to cover some guys down the field. Because Daniel Jones, as you alluded to a couple of shows ago with the stats, he put up some numbers last year. So I think the Giants are going to lose some football games, 38-31. They're going to be some high-scoring games because there's no defense. We don't really have. There's, secondary is shaky at best. I mean, we did sign Bradbury to play corner, but the other side, because we had to let go of our former number 1 pick and let him go. We've had some injuries at linebacker, so we have some other guys there, but we don't have a legitimate pass rusher. We don't have a guy to rush the passer, and in this league, you can't win. And I know a lot of people are, Giants 5 at best wins, but I think the Giants are more of a 7-9, 8-8 football team because I think, as I alluded to earlier, special teams. What did Joe Judge, special teams guy? And I think they're going to win a couple of games because of the special team mistakes early. Early in the season, I think the Giants get some wins off of that. So I think they're going to be a 7-9. They squeak a couple out.
Yeah. Now, does Marcus Golden have the year he had last year?
No, he does not. And Marcus Golden, if everybody was all excited, 10 sacks. We haven't had a 10-sack guy since Lawrence Taylor.
Right.
At linebacker, right. I mean, because you had Strahan and whatnot. But really, if you look at his sacks, I think 3, maybe 4 of those sacks were legit, like where the game mattered. The rest of those sacks were kind of mop-up duty sacks. They weren't. Right. They weren't. Really when the game counted, third down, get off the field. He never came up big. So you could. When you start throwing Lawrence Taylor's name around, you better be careful with that because the guy's not even in the same friggin' zip code.
Right.
I don't even think he's in the same state, country for that matter. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Hemisphere comes to mind.
Yeah, there you go. That's the word I was actually looking for. Thank you, Captain. So,
I'm starting to wonder if Coach has dementia, man.
I know my dementia's starting to kick in. I didn't take my meds, man. I didn't take my dementia meds. So yeah.
Well, you're in the state of Delaware, so it goes around, as you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Delaware, denial, something around the same.
Yeah,
thing,
So, all right, Captain, you want to tell us about your Raiders?
Sure. And thank you for letting me have a conversation that's not about the NFC least. So there you go.
I was waiting to say that.
Yeah, I was like, that's a zing right there. And again, I preface to say this, and I am not saying this as a fan, as a boy, I hope so. But if you look at the way the team was constructed and how it ended up last year, you had 2 losses definitively on the officials with one of the games I was at, which is obviously the last game in Oakland, where the officials gave the game away to the Jaguars. And then the very last game of the season where, there is at least 2 touchdowns on one drive, if not a third touchdown on another drive that was that by replay. I mean, my God, you can friggin' see it's a touchdown. No. So 9-7 gets kicked back to 7-9. But the one positive thing about that is that it moved our draft status up. And the Raiders got what I still think is the best receiver with upside in the draft. He was the fastest of the receivers. He catches everything in sight. He very few drops. I think he lived in the shadow of Judy a little bit in Alabama. And, of course, I'm talking about Henry Ruggs. And it's going to be one of those things where it's the old Cliff Branch, but instead of having to throw the ball, 35, 40 yards down the field for Cliff to catch it, all Derek, and again, Coach Derek Carr, has to do is throw what he used to do with Cooper when he was catching passes and didn't take the next 2 games off like he does with the Raiders and the Cowboys, but throws a nice little zip slant. You saw it with Renfro last year. Great participation with Ruggs. Obviously, picking up Edwards in the 3rd round was a steal because he would have been a higher round pick had he not had the injuries. Now, people bring up that Terrell Williams is already gone. He had the plantar fasciitis last year. He had the what do you call it? The arm this year.
Rotator cuff. Yeah.
Rotator cuff. Thanks, Coach. But he would have been gone. I think that Edwards would have supplanted him by the end of the season anyway. And so that was a roster spot that was precarious. So it just hastens his addition to the starting lineup. What I don't like is you're starting 2 rookie wide receivers in Ruggs and Edwards with Renfro in the slot, and Waller is your old man. So they're going to be able to throw. They're going to be able to run. They got the probably a top 3, if not top 2 offensive line. The question has always been the defense. We addressed that with picking up everybody from along lines. I think the best addition we picked up was Rod Marinelli. So Rod Marinelli coming over from Dallas, bringing Malik Collins, bringing Hurst in the secondary, bringing his style of play. Daniel Ross is another defensive lineman that he'd bring in. So Marinelli working with Gunther to make that defense better, picking up Corey Littleton, picking up Nick Kwiatkowski at linebacker, because our linebackers have sucked for years. Having Abrams come back in the secondary and getting rid of some dead weight. We already got jettisoned Randall because he was the long tooth guy. They got rid of Prince Amukamara because he was the long tooth guy.
Right.
Arnett is going to be playing.
Hold on a second, Captain. Excuse me, Captain. Hold on, Jared. Call back when Captain's done. I'll bring you back on.
Yeah.
You were kind of breaking up, but
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead, Captain.
Okay.
Yeah. And so if you add everything together, why people like haters like Colin Cowturd says the Raiders are going to be 4 and 12, 5-11. I can't see it. Raiders 10-6 playoffs for the AFC.
Okay.
So 10-6 in playoffs. Now, what do you think they do in the playoffs? Do you think they can make a little run, or do you think they're out in the first or second round?
It depends on who they come up against, but I think that they can win a game. I mean, I don't expect them to win more than one game, but I think they can win at least one game in the playoffs. I think
that's a good year, and I think it's an ascension in the right direction, and that's what you're looking for if you're the Raiders. Because I thought last year was a step in the right direction, and I think this year that's what it should be. It should be making the playoffs, and you want to get a win, but honestly, I even think making the playoffs is a step in the direction for a young team. I think the big question is, and I think Captain will agree, is Derek Carr John Gruden's guy? And that question needs to be answered this year. What do you think about that, Captain? Do you think he is, or do you think it's going to be somebody else?
I think for this year it definitely is, because
obviously.
I mean, they're banking on at least we have a legitimate backup once Mariota comes back off the IR. I think that if Derek Carr gets hurt, and you're plugging Nick Peterman as your backup, you're going to lose some games because or whatever Peterman's first name is. Nick. Just some Italian thing. But yeah, if you have Derek Carr playing it with all the toys that John likes, and I see no reason why the offense can't be better, because God knows if Derek Carr, with all of these different toys, can't win, and obviously you got to have your defense playing in, but they're going to come for his head, and it's going to be the same thing that all Raider fans say. He has all the stats, but the only stat that we want to see is the Al Davis stat. Just win, baby.
Hopefully guys. So Jared, what's up, buddy?
Hey guys, what's going on? I've been hearing your insight knowledge, and now it's time for my insight knowledge of your 3 teams and my assessment of Pittsburgh. Let's start in the land of cheesesteak, Philadelphia, however, if you will, with the mighty Eagles and Doug Peterson. As Nick said, Carson Wentz is going to have to stay healthy, basically. I'm thinking no better than 8-8 at the least, however. I mean, this team, however, should win 9 or 10 games. But, of course, everyone's talking about the boo-hoo, sad sack cry boys in Dak, the little, let's just say, whiner, if you will, because he has a legitimate case, however, because of Pat Mahomes and Washington all the money. Now that he wants a bigger raise than he thinks after this year, if he does lead his team to the promised land in Tampa, if you will, however, for the Super Bowl, he'll get that raise. So I'm thinking the Eagles are 8-8, 9-7 at the very least. To New York, however, to the coach, however, and to the G-men, however, all I can say is, however, Joe Judge should be the coach now, however, now that W has seen a turmoil in New York for the last several years in the front office with Mara and Gettleman. And I think Gettleman is on the hot seat right now.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Around this year, this could be a make or break year. Having said that, however, it's going to be interesting to see what he does against my boys Monday night, however, when they face T.J. Watt and company, however, there at MetLife Stadium. I'm saying right now the Giants at this point, Howard, should be a lot better than the Washington football team, shall we say. So I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say at best, 6-10. 6-10. With the Raiders, I agree with the cap. 7-9 is right. However, I think there are going to be some big games they win this year. Henry Ruggs, I said in the chat, is a steal. I think he's going to be another Tim Brown. He's fast, he's speedy, he's quick. He did great at Bama with Judy. I think Derek's going to like having him as a teammate in Las Vegas, and Vegas fans are going to fall in love with him in no time.
You must have missed my pick, Jared, because I 10-6. 7-9 was last year.
Yeah, he said 10-6.
Yeah. But my boys, Howard, I think 10-6 at best, 11-5 at worst. The AFC North is open, however, mind you, for business. You got 1 veteran, 3 young up-and-coming studs, however. This is going to be the fun division to watch, I feel. This is going to be a dragon-like heavyweight fight to see who's going to be left standing at the end. The big question is, obviously, can Ben stay healthy? And also with the running game, can the Steelers stay healthy with their running backs? So you look at that question mark, Howard. 10-6 is the worst case scenario. 11-5 at best. So it's going to be fun.
11-5, really?
Yeah.
You know,
Jared, I'll put some money on that.
Yeah.
I actually agree with you, Jared. So, Jared, the reason I agree with you, I don't think the AFC is that deep. I really don't. I mean, that was a team, Pittsburgh last year, without Big Ben, mind you, that almost got a playoff.
They would have been the last playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, so that's without Big Ben. And that, trust me, there was a big drop-off from Big Ben to Rudolph and then Ducky, whatever his name was, the Duck. But they got a very good defense.
Signed, however, for a fourth-string quarterback, because they brought Dobbs back this week as a third stringer, however. So that's on the practice squad as the fourth string. But again, the big question is, however, obviously with Ben. With Rudolph, we heard a little bit today. There was a report going around that apparently Myles Garrett, however, wants to talk with Mason. He wants to apologize for what happened last year, and that's kind of good. I'm glad at least they're trying to smooth things over. But like I said, you look at the North, however. Like I said, you got Lamar Jackson, you got Baker, you got Ben, you got good receiving cores in each of these teams. Baltimore, of course, has got Marquez Hollywood Brown, and then, of course, Cleveland, you got OBJ, or should I say Obi Weiner. Then you've got Juju. You've got probably the best
Cleveland
that's
Steamer.
going to be fun to watch in that division is going to be Chase Claypool. This kid from Notre Dame Ben's going to love this kid. This is a tall wideout just like Juju. You're going to find some speed out of Chase Claypool. You're going to like this guy in no time. And I even drafted him on my fantasy team on Sunday. But, yeah, the AFC North is wide open for business. However, like I said, the way I break it down, like I said, 10-6, 11-5, no worse. However, Baltimore, everyone's saying, Lamar. Yeah, okay. They could be 12-4, 9-7. The Brownies, 7-9, 8-8, and the Bungles, 5-11 or 6-10. No
You're giving them that many wins. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see all those teams doing this.
Ben Roethlisberger is coming back from unprecedented surgery at his age on his throwing elbow.
Right.
I just don't know if he's going to be able to last the season. He's been so injury prone the last few years. I just don't see it. And they never went out and got a viable backup.
I was just going to say that's why I don't understand why they didn't bring in Jameis.
More than anything is they're going to have to go after a solid backup or at least a decent rookie because Ben is aging. And that's the big question because Mason is iffy. And like you said, how Dobbs is up and down at times, how he's between practice squad and started very little. So, yeah, that is the big question more than anyone has got to look at is can Mason lead the team as a backup power like he did last year? I think that's the big question. Can Ben stay healthy with the knee? And can he just get back to where formerly was 2-3 years ago when he's throwing over 4,000 yards and everything and just zipping it along?
Not going to happen.
Also the receiving course.
Not going to happen.
But no, anyway, I don't either.
But, yep.
Yeah,
all right,
thanks for the call, Jared.
Thanks for the call, man. We appreciate it. Thanks, buddy.
No problem.
Yeah, but no, like I said, I don't understand because I thought that was a perfect thing for Jameis Winston or one of those QBs to be the backup, and then because he's obviously in New Orleans, which that makes sense too. But you're counting a lot. You're right with Big Ben and that arm. I mean, it just
putting all your eggs in. I feel like you're putting all your eggs in one basket. and that basket's got some holes in it. Like, I mean, you're just putting little like tissue paper to hopefully plug those holes. And I don't think that's
and look, they miss AB too. I get that AB's a clown and all that, but they do miss the player. Right. I mean, Juju Schuster isn't AB. He's not a number one. He's a number two.
Because AB really made Juju what it was because of the problems. Well, AB was drawing all the coverage, then was throwing to the open guy, which was Juju. He got upset. And it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the reason I think Pittsburgh can make it, because I think, look, the NFC's loaded. That's where a lot of the good teams are. In the AFC, it's the Chiefs and Ravens, and then who proves themselves.
And then everybody.
And there's a lot of teams, I think, that are on that bubble. I think the Bills are up there. I think the Dolphins have a chance to crack it.
I think the Bills are overrated. Honestly, that's my opinion. I think they're over. I think because they were 10-6.
Who's the team then in the AFC least, as Captain would say? And he's right now. Who's the team?
I mean, they're still the team because the dumpster fire.
That's what I mean. So then they're going to make the playoffs, though.
Yeah, but they're going to be an 8-8 playoff team. Everybody's saying they're going to have.
I disagree with that. They got a good defense.
I don't think they're. Don't believe the hype. There's too much hype about Buffalo. I'm sorry.
There's two divisions I think that are very bad. I don't think the AFC South is particularly good either. I mean, the Jags are probably one of the worst teams in the league. And then I think it's between Tennessee, they're good, but I think they take a step back. Indy, I like the team, don't like the quarterback. And then Houston, there's a lot of questions too. So
and we'll see. They'll get answered tonight. At least some of them will be answered tonight. And I think you're going to see Bill O'Brien is probably my number one guy on the hot seat. It got to be the hot seat guy, right?
Yeah. Hey, especially when he makes the trade, he does.
Hey, Bill, when you get fired, you can come over.
Right, because I mean, the GM is the GM for the Cardinals has got a friggin' warrant out for his arrest in Texas for friggin' stealing DeAndre Hopkins like that. I mean,
and to take on that contract too, like he did with David Johnson. So unless David Johnson returns to form to what he was in Arizona, and that was 2, 3, 4 years ago, then it's a steal, complete steal.
Hey, Bill, when you come in, bring some hookers for the owner up there as well. So some good Texas pussy. There you go. Bring it up. There you go.
And that's what I would say too. The AFC West, Captain's division. That's another division. I wouldn't be surprised if I think the Chiefs obviously make it. The Raiders. I think the Chargers are good, but once again, Chargers. I'm not in love with Tyrod Taylor. So if they're gonna make it, they're gonna need a lot of just that defense is gonna have to ball out. And without Derwin James, I don't know that they could do that. With Derwin James, I think it was possible. And then you let Tyrod be a game manager, kind of like Minnesota, where you could run the ball, Although I don't know that Eckler is much of a running back per se, as like you say, every down back. He's very good in the passing game. But I don't know that he's going to be, your 12, 1,300-yard rusher. Right.
Yeah. They're definitely going to take a step back without having Melvin Gordon back there. And until they find out. Yeah, Eckler's a very good utility back, third down back, a good all-around back. But he's not Melvin Gordon good. And Melvin Gordon's going to be that addition that the Broncos actually will get use out of. To that quarterback that coach is in love with, who didn't see him play in Missouri, or misery, as actually would be saying. But,
look, Captain, I did see him play. Okay, I did see him play because I really thought that the Giants would have gotten their pass rusher at the beginning of the draft, and Drew Lock and Daniel Jones would still be there at the end of the first round, and you would have been able to pick between the two because I think they were pretty similar. I mean, obviously, Daniel Jones played more games, looked a lot better, okay? And so I'm not saying that. But I did look at both guys. I broke them both down. I thought they were very similar quarterbacks, who didn't play on winning teams. So you got to take that into consideration when, you're playing against an iffy offensive line. And, hell, he did pretty well playing in the SEC, considering he was at misery. So,
well, I think what everybody's going off of is how they played down the stretch. They were, I believe I'm looking right now, 4-1 down the stretch. They beat the Chargers at home, beat the Texans on the road, then they lost to the Chiefs, but then beat the Lions, and they, sorry to say, Captain, obviously beat your Raiders by a point in the last game. But that doesn't mean to me.
Given a W. I'm sorry, given a W.
Right. So I have to see more. Do I think there's potential here? Yes, but I need to see more before I'm going to put as a franchise caliber QB.
I think he's the franchise guy. I think you're going to see him there for the next 10 years. He'll be that guy. I think he develops into that guy. Does he take him to a Super Bowl? I don't know. I'll
actually agree with the one thing is that is the best quarterback, and this is saying a lot. That's the best quarterback that John Elway has brought into the system forever.
Absolutely.
Forever.
I was just going to say that. Yes.
Okay, but that's not saying a lot because you look at what he's brought in, and then like I said, I'm still not convinced that they couldn't have gotten better.
All right, Coach, you ready for my?
Let's get into it because I know you got some.
Hey,
all right, so
I should have broke your thumb. And if you don't want Gazzo breaking your thumbs, then listen to Nick's picks exclusively in the Huddle with Coach Muddle.
All right, so the line tonight is 9, over/under is 53. I think 9 points is too much. So what I'm going to do, and I'll tell you how I did it, you do a tease. And if you got to buy 6.5 points, do it. I took the Chiefs down to 2.5. I put them with the Bills, who are at home against the Jets on Sunday. So I like a Bills-Chief tease. I like over 53 tonight with the over-under because I think you got, look, like Coach said earlier, teams haven't been tackling. You got a high-powered offense like Kansas City. Houston's not known for defense, but you still got Watson. So I think, Houston's going to do their damage. Obviously they're trying to fit Johnson and Cooks into that offense. So I like over 53 tonight, and then take the Chiefs in a tease them up with the Bills, who play the lowly Jets at home. And I think that's you can get that. The Bills are like 7.5. So you can basically get the Bills to win the game with the Chiefs at 2.5, 3. I just think 9 points is too much to lay. If I had to, I would take the Texans plus the 9. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs and take them in a tease. And then, like I said, I like over 53. And then I will also give out a prop bet. I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire to score a touchdown. That's minus 140 to win 100. So you got to lay $140 to win 100. And, so those are my 3 pieces for tonight.
Okay. All right. That's high because I think, I would have probably went with, I think he rushed for 100 yards tonight.
Okay. Yeah, well, his over-under, if you like that, Coach, as somebody calls to put a bet in, his over-under for rushing yards, I'll tell you in a second, is I think it's only 59.5. So if he gets 60 yards rushing, you win that bet. And I you know what? I'm going to go with you on that, Coach. I agree. That's another good one. Take over 59.5 rushing yards for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I agree with you, Coach.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So
you're rubbing off on me, Nick. We've been doing this a while, kind of getting the vibe,
Yeah.
So if I was to send you like $20 in PayPal to say to buy me some tasty cakes, and instead you put some money on Edwards-Helaire going over 59, that might happen.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
For some tasty cakes. Yeah.
yeah. I agree.
And that would be my first internet purchase of tasty cakes ever.
There you go.
Ever.
There you go.
First internet purchase of tasty cakes.
Good stuff. Now, remember, everyone, join us Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Captain will still be sleeping, so he won't be with us. But Stiz will be in doing his fantasy, sit-em, start-em, whatever fantasy you do. I'm not a fantasy guy, so I don't get involved in that. But Stiz will give you that, and Nevada Nick will give you all his picks for Sunday's game. So make sure you tune in at 10 a.m. Sunday for our football show pregame.
And if OBJ's in there, it's sit 'em, start 'em, shit 'em. So that's the other thing that's in there.
Oh, that's great. Oh, man. That's great. That's definitely by far the line of the night, man. That's great.
Right.
Knock them down. Set them up. There you go.
There you go. There you go. Good stuff. Good stuff. And, of course, you have Captain tonight. Go take your nap. Head on over. Captain Jack. Come back to YouTube. Captain Jack has his show going. Go ahead, plug it, Captain.
Yeah, 9 o'clock Eastern. It's going to be You Don't Know Jack About Sports show. This is the regular Thursday show. Tomorrow, for those that want to see some, because you just can't get enough of it, I'm going to have an interview. Actually, I got to make sure I have the interview. But tomorrow I'm scheduled to have an interview with Jack Squirick, the hero that grabbed Theismann's interception in Super Bowl 18 that basically solidified the Raiders' win that day. But you got, obviously, You Don't Know Jack About Sports tonight at 9. You got the interview with Jack Squirick tomorrow at 9 o'clock. These are Eastern time, by the way. I'm going to actually take a day off on Monday, so the hardest working dude on YouTube, not on her back or fluffing, we'll actually take a day off on Saturday and then come back on Sunday. I'll be with Homer immediately after the Raider game, and then I'll have my show, Ask Captain Jack, probably about an hour after the Raider game. So can't get enough of me, can't get enough of the coach and Nick and my boy Stiz. Remember, sit 'em, start 'em, shit 'em. That will be tomorrow on the
Sunday.
show here.
That's
on
Sunday, Captain. Sunday.
And
There you go.
And Captain, what do you got the Raiders doing Sunday?
I got them winning.
Okay, you got them winning. Okay.
I mean, I hate saying it. I'm Al Davis, man. Just win. And I actually see a win over the Panthers because, again, what you were talking about, teams that are already solidified, year 3 of Gruden, year 3 of Gunther in the defense, and you got a Panther team that is brand new parts, brand new coaches, put everything together without any real practices against a team that's been together for a while. Yeah, the Raiders have got a lot of new parts in there, but the continuity is there.
All right, but going across the country, really, and to play a 1 o'clock game is, pretty tough for those West Coast teams.
It is, but in 2016, when the Raiders made the playoffs the last time, and everybody would always throw out that East Coast record, they actually played well on the East Coast. They beat Jacksonville and Tampa in back-to-back weeks, and I think they played another game early, would have been a 1 o'clock game. They won that game as well. So they've gone up. Now, granted, this was under Jack. Oh my God, don't call me a racist, Del Rio. But the team is getting better in that respect. Now, Sully was throwing out the Gruden factor. Yeah. I think it's more of a team thing. And if the team buys in, I'm willing to say I'll take that 1 o'clock start against a team that just isn't ready.
Okay. All right, there you have it. All right, gang, we're going to cut out a couple minutes early so I need to get ready for some football, get some dinner. So, all right, everyone, have a great weekend. Remember, tune in to Captain Jack tonight at 9 o'clock. And don't forget, come back to us Sunday morning, 10 a.m. I'll make sure I put that out on social media. With Nevada Nick and his picks and Stiz with his stardom, sit 'em, shit 'em.
There you go. I was going to say, make sure you said it. Sit 'em, start 'em, shit 'em.
All right, everyone. Thanks for checking us out. We really appreciate it. Make sure you like the page if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe. Be part of the show. We really appreciate it. So, you guys take care. And I can't get the mouse to work, so give me a second. Here we go.
That's what she said.